of the Richard Byrd Library, and we would love to welcome you today. We're so glad you joined us. We are very excited to have the Life Planning Network and Kerry Hannon with us today. So thank you for coming out. I'm glad the weather cooperated. Hopefully it'll hold, and we'll have a nice event this morning. So thanks for being here. I'm going to introduce Elizabeth Mailer. She is the past president of the Chesapeake chapter of the Life Planning Network, and we'll get things started.
Hi there. Thank you very much, Valerie. And Eileen. Okay, so again, my name's Elizabeth Mahler, and I'm one of the past presidents of the Life Planning Network, the Chesapeake chapter, of which, as you can guess, would be Maryland, Virginia, and DC folks. And I've got to give you a little background on what we're going to be doing today, and then hopefully quickly turn over to our great speaker and interviewer to take it away. First, I'm going to introduce you to some folks in the Life Planning Network, and then we're going to get into the program. And I'm also going to give a little bit of information on the Life Planning Network, so you know kind of who we are and what we do. We're also going to have a book drawing. Can you hear me? Okay. We're also going to have a book drawing for Kerry's new book, Never Too Old to Get Rich, An Entrepreneur's Guide for Starting a Business Midlife. So if you haven't already put your name in before we do the book drawing, there's a basket out in the registration table, so make sure you do that so you have an opportunity to get that. And then after the program, you'll have an opportunity to chat with Kerry and have her sign a book if you purchased a book from the Scrawl Books folks who are out in the lobby. And we have this room till 1 o'clock, so we can spend some time chatting. We have refreshments in the back, help yourself. There's no decaf, so remember that if that's an issue. So let's get going. Just to let you know a little bit about the Life Planning Network, we're an organization that's, I think, 12 to 15 years old. Like every year when I look at this, I'm thinking, should I add another year? But it's been around since the early 2000s, okay? And it was started by life coaches who were really interested in the last chapter or last two chapters, I'm going to say, of life at the time. And they got together and they started this organization, and it has grown to chapters across the United States. And our chapter in the DC metro area is, as I said, the Chesapeake chapter. And we are a professional association generally, and we have members who want to create and communicate knowledge and resources that inform the life planning process of everybody who's in the 50 plus as they get going and into the third chapter, as it's called. So our professional group values learning and thought leadership on positive aging across the spectrum. And we look at life planning, ways. The thing is there's so many different topics when people get over 50 that they need to start thinking about or don't think about, and so there's this richness of professional folks out there who are probably doing something in their own professional development groups, if you're a sociologist or a teacher or whatever. But what we like to do with the Life Planning Network is bring folks together to have a little bit more of an interdisciplinary conversation and really get a sense of a more holistic approach to looking at aging. Because we all know what folks are doing in our own professions if we're paying attention, and that's important to us. But we don't always know what's going on in the other areas. So that's why we like to have different kinds of programs during the year. So anybody who's interested in a profession or wants to get involved with the Life Planning Network, and I understand the notion of positive aging and how you want to be involved, can contact us and join if you'd like, and we invite you to do that. And with that, I'm going to introduce you to one of our co-membership chairs, Doc Keenan, who's going to talk to you a little bit about membership.
Hello. Okay, my flyers are coming. Carmen's giving them out. Carmen is co-membership chair with me. Carmen's handing out some flyers that explain what CLPN is all about. So CLPN is the local chapter of the LPN, Life Planning Network, and we are the Chesapeake Life Planning Network, which is the local chapter. So we have 4 quarterly meetings a year. We have very interesting topics. So we also do special events like this one that we're having today, and where we would consider having teleconferences, and I think we have one already, but we would consider doing that in the future. So really interesting meetings. But look over this and you will see a list of the benefits. And when you signed in outside, on the sheet, there was a little place where you could mark off if you'd like more information. So now that you're all registered, you will automatically be on our list for finding out about future programs. And you'll just get something from CLPN about a future program. But if you want more information, mark outside that you would like more information, and I'll be in touch with you about additional information. So thank you.
Thank you, Dot. And I'm going to introduce Karma Ryan, who is our other co-chair for the membership group.
Hi, everybody. We really enjoy putting on events for the public like this. It's always a pleasure to get to meet new faces and see people all involved and interested in aging. We're an all-volunteer organization, so one of the things we do is provide refreshments and make copies and all those things that are involved with running a small organization. There's a small basket back there if you're feeling particularly generous at the end of the day. We would greatly appreciate a donation.
Thank you, and it's right in the back there, next to the phone charger, in case you need that as well. I think that's great. Okay, and so I'd also like to introduce you to Eileen Carrasio, who is going to talk to you about our communications in LPN.
We actually wanted to talk to you about our organization and that we're very collaborative. So we learn from each other a lot of diverse disciplines. And so in being collaborative, this is a book, Live Smart After 50. Our organization put it together nationally with 33 experts on positive aging and just to how to live smart and what to do in terms of all these different areas. And so it just gives you an idea. 33 people writing the book over a national area. We like to work together and share. That's what we're about, sharing information and sharing resources to help each other and to help you. And the other thing that we do is called LPNQ, and this is a quarterly presentation of articles on themes. And this particular one was on the brain, talking about how music is very helpful for the brain and being creative and getting your ideas and helping you relax. There's a lot of information about the brain, but there's a lot of themes. And so this is something that will be available to you. And lastly, if you happen to go to the Lifetime Network website and you become a member, there's a lot more behind the scenes that's available.
Virtual chapter has emerged that allows people from all over the country, and actually there's people in France who come to it. So I globally to attend a meeting once a month with other folks, and you can do it from the comfort of your home as opposed to having to travel the Beltway. And sometimes that's really helpful, especially in time like this in the winter. So, okay. So I want to, first of all, thank Eileen, who has been instrumental in putting this event together today. It could not have been done without her work, and I'd like to give her a round of applause because she's really worked hard. And then I'm going to get started, and I'm going to start by talking a little bit about our speaker today, Kerry Hannon, who is a nationally recognized expert and strategist, and I've had coffee, still can't say it, on career transitions, personal finance, and retirement and entrepreneurship. And you may be saying this, but did you know that the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs are women over 50? She is a frequent TV and radio commentator and is a sought-after keynote speaker. She focuses on empowering individuals to do more with their careers and personal finances, in the present and for the future. She spent more than 2 decades covering all aspects of careers, business, and personal finance as a columnist, editor, and writer for the nation's leading media companies, including the New York Times, Forbes, Money, U.S. News and World Report, and USA Today. And she's appeared as a career and financial expert on the Dr. Phil Show, ABC, CBS, CNBC, NBC Nightly News, NPR, and PBS. Anything I forgot? I'm exhausted. You should be tired. So at this point, I'd like to invite Eileen up. I'll go sit down, and we'll get our conversation started. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. Well, welcome everyone, and Happy New Year. We're 18 days into the new year, and this is a great time to celebrate the new year and empower ourselves personally, professionally, and financially. What a way to kick off the new year. And I just want to say, Kerry, that you have been on our speaker guest list, your name kept on coming up. Oh, she wrote something on Next Avenue blog or something out there in a presentation, and we thought, wouldn't it be nice to just like talk to Kerry over coffee? And here she is. A wish became a goal and it materialized. And so we're happy to talk with Kerry today. And Kerry, just to start off, how can we empower ourselves? How should we?
First of all, I just want to say thank you. You know, you have worked so hard and you've been such a delight to work with all of you. I appreciate everyone coming out on a winter's day and you know, but I was just saying when I saw the clementines in the back, it was actually quite hopeful. You know, it's really nice. But yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? New beginnings, new years, new starts, empowerment. And at any age. I mean, I talk to audiences of a whole range of ages, but I find that there's this chapter of our life, maybe after 50, that people start thinking it's winding down and is thinking about retirement or stepping back. And to me, this is a time in life to really step forward, to, you know, we often hear retire to something, you know, move forward. It's a great stage of life to really engage in the world around us, and that in itself is empowering. So I like to start off, and like a lot of people, you know, you make a little list at the beginning of the year, what your goals are and so forth. So why not, you know, but I try to keep it simple, and so that each day I can actually accomplish something. You know?
And that's a good thing.
So that's what, you know, I think the message that you know, we're going to talk about today is all about ways that we can, and some people adhere to this term, it's not one that I like so much, is reinvention. I think this is a time in life to redeploy and to take skills we've built up throughout our life and switch them to something really new that kind of ramps up that energy again. It's a little scary, it's the adrenaline rush of trying new things, whether it's working or volunteering or meeting new people. How hard is that, you know? And we all kind of get in our, you know, cocoon, so it's reaching out.
You know, you said something really interesting. You said the word redeployment, and we have a lot of military here in our community, the Pentagon, and so redeployment. You're almost like saying redeployment of skills, and is that right? And
Without question, and I have to hesitate for just 1 minute, is because speaking of the military, one of my favorite redeployment stories that I actually write about this gentleman in my book, What's Next. But Don Covington was career military, right? And he, you know, was in the Navy, and this guy, he was a pilot as well. He could land on an aircraft carrier. I mean, he was incredible. His whole career, and when he took mandatory retirement, Don could have done a lot of different things. He could have worked for a Defense Department. He could have flown for, you know, commercial aircraft, actually. But Don ran away with the service. And I was like, Don, when are you
he really did.
He really, really did. And I was like, Don, how does the circus have anything to do with the military? And he's like, Kerry, I gotta tell you, they're really not that different. I was like, and I understood what he meant. What he meant is that for him, all of those skills that he had learned during his military career, leadership, you know, moving troops of people, he took a job with the Big Apple Circus. And wherever he was deployed for the Navy, he used to go to the circus. He loved going to the circus in Baltimore with his dad as a little kid. He loved the circus, there's no question about it. So he found a way to take those leadership skills that he had, and he joined the Big Apple Circus as a company manager. His wife had been a nurse. She became the wardrobe manager. And they traveled up and down the East Coast, and it was delightful for him. But he was able to re-engage that way and redeploy. So that's,
Yeah.
You know, and he said he was like a kid under the big top all the time.
Yeah, that is amazing, you know, to redeploy your skills. I mean, we certainly have skills, and we can be creative in knitting together perhaps a new career and a lot of ideas that we can pull from our past. And Kerry, you had said at one time, and I read something about hovering. Could you share something about hovering? I just think that in terms of empowering and our mindset, hovering might really be something that we'd like to hear about.
Well, you know, it's fairly basic, but it's a nice acronym, and you can remember it. So, HOVER is the H, and these are the ingredients, I think, are helpful to anyone who is moving into a new chapter in their life, to setting off on a new adventure. And I always caution people too, before I get into them quickly, is that nothing is forever. So there's no ideal starting point to start something new. You just need to get started in baby steps, because a lot of us want to find that right point to launch into something, and there is no ideal. So if these 5 ingredients, the H in HOVER stands for hope. And I believe that the whole idea of when you are hopeful, you have this positive look on things. It allows you to think, yes, I can. Like my dad used to always say that to me. When people say, you can't do this, you couldn't do this, Dad would say, how can you do this?
Yes.
So, I think that being hopeful is being able to say, I can, not, and it's how can I, not you can't, or so forth. So hope, the O is for optimism. And, that gets a lot of, window dressing about how important it is to be optimistic in life. But trust me, we all want to be around people who are optimistic, right? It's energizing. It really gets us thinking, and it gets us thinking, oh yeah, she's doing this. I could do that. He's doing this. I could. It gives you this, when you're optimistic, you are constantly moving forward. You're thinking about what's next. You're not looking backwards. You're not living in the past. So optimism is your O. V is value. For gosh sakes, you have got to value yourself. Nobody is going to value you in the way that you do yourself. So I tell people, do an MRI of yourself. What are your skills? What are you good at? What do you like to do? And often it's going back and think about things we did as kids, or moments in our life that really make us happy, whether it was in the workplace or not in the workplace. It is the moments in your life that really give you that sense of value. And often we don't even know what we're good at if we don't. So I say to someone, sometimes I was like, that whole follow your passion business. And people will come up to me after I tell them, they're like, I'm not really sure if I have any passions. And that's kind of scary. It's like, you do. But you just need to take a moment, and sometimes you have to ask your friends and colleagues, like, what do you think I'm good at? And they'll tell you things that you take for granted, that you don't even think of that as your value. So V is having value, because once you know what you have to market, to sell, to move forward with, then you've got that base. You know where to start. The E is enthusiasm. All right, again, like optimism, we want to be around enthusiastic people. We want to be enthusiastic because it makes the world better. When you're looking forward and you get up every day with that sort of positive focus, whatever it is you're doing, it is enthusiasm that sort of powers us through. And the R is another word that gets a lot of talking and banding about, is resilience. And oh jeepers, resilience is something that's a little tricky, but we can learn how to be resilient when we remind ourselves of times that we've been pushed back, we've had a setback, we've had something go wrong in our lives, and you know what? We've come out the other side. Let's look back and say, I was able to move from A to B, and I'm okay, and it came out okay. So resilience is something that we all have inside of us. We need to recognize the times that we've been able to do it and say, hey, I got this.
Yeah, this is great to have something that's kind of a nice firm foundation to cover. I was thinking when you were talking about the military and redeployment, I was thinking of the hover, up there, the drones and all types of things, and kind of assessing your situation. And so it's a great acronym. Thinking that how that you used in terms of the hover, and also hope, to ask how you could do it was something that stood out to me, to ask that question. And then the other thing that I took from this was there was a woman who didn't think she had any passions, and my husband and I were sitting at a bed and breakfast, and we asked her, how did she get to be a bed and breakfast host? And she said she didn't think she had any passions, but she was like reading a newspaper and saw something for a house, and maybe she would do that. But I think she was asking herself, what can I do? How can I do it? And then it subconsciously popped up to her. But this is something to think about too, for her to, or for others to think about. You do have passions.
We do have passions, and it doesn't have. This is a great chapter of our lives where it's like a patchwork quilt. You can do this for a while, and you can do this, or you can do a couple of things at the same time. It's not like our linear career. where we kind of marched along in step. This is not, this stage of life is a fantastic time to try out different things. And in this book I wrote a few years ago, What's Next, I wrote, initially this came out in a hardcover, and when I went back to do the paperback, a third of the people had moved on to doing different things.
Oh, interesting.
And, they either sold their business that they started, or they were still doing that, but they were doing several other things. So it's good to remind ourselves that these aren't monumental decisions that we're making. It feels like it. But if the big ticket items are behind you and you've achieved a lot of the goals you may have set out for yourself in your career, then okay, give yourself permission to have a little fun and experiment.
I've seen this too of individuals that have done artwork and made all sorts of things on Etsy and have started their own little business. And so something that you might think that you're good at, and that's fun as a hobby, it might be something that they could try also.
Oh, actually, there's a woman who I just love her. She was in the insurance industry and she retired. Her name's Marilyn, and she loved to sew. From the time she was a little kid, like she would win little contests with her. She remembers her mom teaching her on the sewing machines that your feet went up and down on and everything. Well, but she used to sew just for fun, right? And her financial planner said to her when she retired, so what are you going to do? And she's like, I don't have any idea. And so she started thinking about sewing. She started a little business just with her friends, and she would take used wedding dresses, like someone's wedding dress, and make it into a pillow, or a christening gown. And so she started this whole business of repurposing wedding dresses. And now she'll do quilts with t-shirts, like if you collected t-shirts when you went to concerts or whatever. It's and she'll make these great quilts for people. And she's based out in Kansas City, but she doesn't have to have an office. It's no bricks and mortar here. She's got a great website. And she has little boutiques in her town in Kansas City where she does sell some of her goods. But in fact, I do horse competitions. And anyway, I'm horse crazy. So I sent her a bunch of ribbons that I won at horse shows, and she made a quilt out of it.
Oh,
And all they were doing is gathering dust in my house, and nobody cared about me, what they meant, But no, I have a quilt, and I look at it and go, yeah, it's fine,
That's creative.
But that's a great way
Yeah.
and she has a thriving business. Does it make her a gazillion dollars? No. Does it give her money to do things in her life that she'd like to do? Yeah. Did it allow her to push back taking Social Security till 70? Yep. Does she not have to dump into her retirement accounts? You bet. For a lot of stuff. So it's a win.
Yeah, it was not only creative, but it was strategic.
Yeah.
That they could make some money and do something that they love and creative. I'm sure there's a lot of us have skills that we could.
Her name's Marilyn Arnold. You can just Google her.
Neat. That sounds like a neat idea. So you also talked about a fitness program, and in terms of empower us personally before we get into the professional part, you had mentioned some fitness program.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I love Kerry's fitness program personally. As you can see, I work out all the time. I don't. But this all came to me when I spend a lot of time talking to audiences around the country who are over 50 looking for jobs, and they're looking for jobs because they haven't saved for retirement. And this is critical that they find work. And even with a tight labor market, it is really hard. So I started thinking about different things that really can help someone in a job search, but it can be in a personal search as well, whether you're looking for a great volunteer opportunity or something you want to move into. And so Kerry's Fitness program has 3 parts. Number 1 is physical fitness. I would have, and I will say it's mostly women, would come up to me and say, do I need to get Botox? Do I need to dye my hair? I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, if you want to, do it. I think that's great, but don't do it right for your interview, and think it through a little bit, But I said, what you really need to do is to get physically fit. And I don't mean you need to bench press or run fast miles or any of that. Okay, so take a breath. We're not talking that. I walk my dog. So what you need to do is have something that you do 20 minutes a couple times a week, whether it's swimming or walking or whatever it is, and eat with an eye to nutrition. Think about you and here's what happens, and it's a great way to fight ageism on any level, is people, they don't know what they're looking at, like a hiring manager, but they know they want to be around you Because when you're fit, you give off this vibe, you give off this energy, you give off this can-do attitude. It's subtle, it's there, and people want you on their team. They want you to be part of their group, whether it's, getting together to do volunteer efforts together, whether it's being hired in to work for a company, you fit in because you're there. And that comes from physical fitness, right? That's really important. Number 2 is to be financially fit. This is really, really hard, but when I talk to anybody who wants to start off into a new line of work, even to step back and do more volunteer work and not have to worry about money, when you're financially fit, it gives you options. People tell me debt is the biggest dream killer to what they want to do. It truly is. If you want to start a business, you're probably not going to be able to pay yourself initially. If you're going back to work in a new field, a new career where you're redeploying, you're probably not going to make what you made before. I mean, it's going to be real tough. So you need to be able to get over the fact that salaries aren't going to be what they used to be. And you might have to pay to get a little more education. Maybe you need a certificate, and I'm not saying a full-blown graduate degree or anything, but the certificate can, so you need to have, if you're financially fit, you're lean and mean, and you have opportunities, you can take that job that you really want, but doesn't pay that as much as you would hope, and you're not insulted by it. It's okay. You can do it. So I tell people, do a budget. All right, let's just start with ground one. Just do a budget. Where can you trim back? Where can you, and this takes time. And it's not going to happen overnight, but can you pay down some big credit card debts? Can you even move? Can you downsize where you live? Are the kids gone? Do you have the opportunity to find a less expensive living situation? So being financially fit is a really crux of any kind of plan as you move forward in the next chapter of your life. And the final one is you need to be spiritually fit. And I don't mean woo-woo religion and all of that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm talking about is that this can be a time in life where it's really stressful, especially if you're job hunting. And you need a place of balance, a place where it's calming, where you can go to. So I'm thinking meditation, Tai Chi, yoga, some kind of practice that gives you a centering point. For me, again, walking my dog. But I love to walk, and out in the country particularly is great. But being back in nature, anything like that. But to have that point where you can just take a breath. So those are my 3 pieces.
So it's physically fit, financially fit,
And spiritually fit.
Okay. I think that gives us a good sense of how to move forward personally.
And try to do something every day in each of those categories, and you're well on the way.
Okay. It's a good way to maybe start off our year. So maybe we can move into professionally now, just our careers and our jobs. And what happens, Kerry, if you're in a job and you're working it, but you just don't like it? You're not happy with it, you're not happy in it, but it pays the bills. What do you suggest for that type of situation?
Yeah, here's what happens, and again, I'll go back to when I go and I'm talking to these people who really need jobs, and I would come home and people would be, my friends would be complaining about their work, how they don't like it, their boss is terrible, and I would be like, get over it. If you're not happy with your job, do something about it. Only you can change that. It's your attitude, and yeah, your boss might be lousy, but it's how you deal with it that matters. And what I find is most people don't hate their job. They don't hate their boss. They don't identify it, but what it is they are bored. They're bored. And they aren't, challenging themselves anymore, especially at a certain age. You don't want to, I don't want to raise my hand and ask for new duties, because for God's sakes, I might not do a good job at it, I might fail. There's this fear of failure, of being exposed. So if you keep your head down, you do what you do, right? And so you're not getting promoted the way you once were. So you're not getting that high off of, somebody's patting me on the back all the time. So what it is, when I talk to people about what do you love about your job, well, they usually say, I love the people I work with. I really, really like the people I work with. I like the opportunity to learn new things if their employer offers that. I like the fact that I get to travel. Traveling is wonderful. And so, you start picking it apart. So, okay, how can you make it better? What can you do? So there's certain things, the first thing I tell people to do if you're miserable in your job is, first write down the list of the things that you do like about your job. I mean, there are things that you do like about it. What did you like about your job when you first started? What were the things that got you up in the morning? And then think about, what can I do to move this forward? And what you need to do is learn something new. Number one, the best way to get out of that rut is to see if your employer has some sort of workplace development class you can take that's related to your field. And if not, even if you took a class on glass blowing, your brain, as soon as you start learning something new, something shifts. You get an energy. You start looking at the world a different way. So I really encourage people to learn something new as the first thing to do if you're bored with what you're doing, or you're unhappy, or you feel stuck. The second thing, obviously, raise your hand and ask for new duties. If you can do that at work, ask first. Ask to do something new. Is there another thing that taps into, we like the people we work with? Is there a volunteer effort within your company that you can get involved with? Because when you're working alongside others, not in a work capacity, there's something that feels really good about that. You're working to give back, and it reaffirms who you are in your workplace, and the reason it builds new networking and new relationships in the office. Again, and I tell people this is so simple, and everyone talks about this these days, but it's true. Declutter your office. Like, just take a minute. I'm not a great example of you can do an office, but I know it works. Because if you start looking around, and when you're decluttering, you're making decisions about your life. You're saying, I value this, I don't value this. That message gets through to your whole psyche. And so you start thinking, oh, what do I value in my workplace? What do I value in myself? So, and it's also liberating. It's really empowering to have a fresher workspace. I like the idea of putting up a dream board in your office, or a happy place that you can turn to and kind of refresh yourself, remind you while you're working. Maybe it is the job is just to pay the bills. Well, what is that bill paying? Is it for that vacation you want to take somewhere? Put that somewhere. You don't have to make it high on everyone sees it, but when you can go, okay, wait a minute, pause, I need to look at this. And another thing, and I know I have so many ways to tell people love their jobs, but one of them is, if you have a rotten day, so somebody is not having a rotten day. So look around your workplaces. If you're one of your colleagues that's having a great day, just say congratulations, job well done, woohoo! Because when you compliment somebody else, not only does it make them feel great, it makes you feel good. So you kind of get a buzz off of that. So try to remember to say, hey, keep going to somebody else and get out of your own head. And the final thing is, and Gallup backs me up on this, people who laugh and smile around the workplace are more engaged in their jobs. So, put that smile on. So that's empowering.
Yeah, this is, there's so much good information here, and I'm like writing little notes. And one of the things you said that I wanted to point out was, when we don't like our jobs, we often look at what's not working. And you said, focus on what's working. What did you like about it? And that's very, very clarifying, I think. And who would have thought, by cleaning out your office, you're making those decisions, what you like. Again, that clarifying and process. I think this is just really good wisdom in the whole catharsis of it. It's just looking forward. So this is good information. And I hope you're all jotting down the wisdom.
But, another quick thing I'll say is, like, one reason why I made a shift in my own life, because I had always worked for companies, and I had achieved a goal that my whole life I wanted, is to have a national column in a newspaper, right? So I got that at USA Today. And it was like my little picture on it, and I'd be on an airplane, I'd be like, of course nobody noticed, who cares, but to me it was a big deal. But one day I was with my dad, and we were walking on the beach in Florida where he was, and he's like, how are you doing? And I said, I'm miserable. I really, really hate my job. And he's like, well, quit. And I was like, I can quit, right? And I was like, yeah, my dad said I could quit. I was mid-40s then, but I was like, hell yeah. So I went home and I quit. And just then, I got an opportunity to do a book, which had nothing to do with money, because I was writing about taxes and retirement in this particular job. And it was about Navajo weaving. And I went out to the Four Corners, and I spent time on the reservation, and I profiled these weavers. And two of the women didn't speak English. It was just Navajo. I had to have a translator. And, 45 minutes down the dirt road to these Hogans, this one woman, Mary, she wove monumental rugs. I mean, she has since passed away, but she was in her 80s. And oh my gosh, her rugs were amazing. And this Hogan, she had no electricity, no running water. She raised 8 kids there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an accomplishment.
And I'm sitting there like, this is America, and I'm going, wow. And I'm all caught up in my East Coast sensibilities and my little traumas about working in an open office or whatever it was that was making me so happy, And I realized, and Mary said to me, you ask questions that nobody thinks about through the translator. And I went outside of her Hogan, and it was spectacular. I mean, it was so beautiful where she lived. It was so beautiful. And she was pure joy. And she was so joyous about her work. And I thought, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I came back, and something inside me shifted, and I started this whole area of talking to people about their jobs, finding joy in your work, making a difference in the world, making a difference in the work you do, and not only for yourself, but for those whose lives you touch. And it really became a real mission for me.
Yeah. One of the things about impairment is that you decided that you actually could make a decision, and sometimes we think we can't make decisions. It's beyond us. We can't make it, but we do truly have our ability to make a decision to leave our job or stay with our job, and I think you brought that out really well. And also joyfulness. We want to focus on the joy of our life, and I think that's very telling about direction, about wanting to go after joy and finding that and making decisions to do that.
So true. I work harder than I ever did once I started on this path. And I love every minute of it. My old bosses are like, are you kidding? You're up at 5:30? And I'm like, yeah. And I like it. Yeah.
Good stuff. How about if you decide that you want to leave your job? You decide that you do want to leave. What about social media, like LinkedIn or resumes? There are specific things that we can do to say, here's me. Hire me.
Well, I think at this stage in life, it's really hard. We're not good at bragging on ourselves. We're not good at being our own advocate. So you got to suck it up and say, yeah, this is a time if you want to make a shift to do something new, and you're going to quit, and you're going to, take this job. As I say, sometimes you do have to take this job and love it, not shove it. But if you choose to shove it, then you need to be prepared. And in today's world, you have got to have a LinkedIn profile for most jobs, not every job, but you need to have a professional network. People are going to Google you. They're going to look and see, like you Googled me this morning, or in the middle of the night, whatever. People are going to Google you. So you need to have a social media footprint of some kind. And the LinkedIn profile is an easy way. I love LinkedIn because you can showcase yourself. You can show your volunteer efforts. I know a woman who got hired by someone who the hiring manager was interviewing a couple of different people, but because she volunteered for this animal organization, caring for animals who have been abused and abandoned, that woman who was hiring had a huge animal interest, and they bonded over this, and she saw it on her LinkedIn profile. That probably wouldn't have been on her resume. But you can also put slideshows, videos, any kind of song and dance about yourself, and you can change it all the time, as long as and if you really don't know what you're doing, LinkedIn has great tutorials, or you can ask your nephews and nieces. In your resume, it's a real do-over. I mean, resumes are not your obituary. Resumes are your advertisement. So we don't need every job you ever had. We need the last 10 years maybe. And it doesn't have to be linear. I like skills-based resumes, so you highlight what am I good at, right? This is what I'm good at right up front. It can be even a little conversational. You need stories that show you did something, your challenge, your action, your result. So people love to read a good story. So your resume has to tell a story. It can't be just a list of jobs and years and a title, because most people won't even know what the job title is. So I think that's really critical. So I say, a lot of people say, it has to be a page. Truthfully, give yourself a break. 2 pages. but definitely keep it tight. the basic stuff for ages, and they're going to know how old you are, but you don't need to put the dates up there.
So, networking is how does that play in with LinkedIn and looking for a job and what are some specific things that?
I mean, networking is the name of the game. I mean, we have all these job boards out there, blah, blah, blah. Nobody, let's say, very few people actually get jobs online. You are getting jobs from people hire people they know and people they don't know. I mean, it's never changed. It's the same. It's more than ever because employers are chicken. And they don't want to make a bad hiring decision. So they want somebody who has vetted that person for them, that knows them, that comes with a recommendation. So if you can, networking, and I've said this in other audiences, but I just love it. It's one letter away from not working. So get over yourself. Pick up the phone. Tell everybody in the world you're looking for a job. It's not a bad thing. Or you're looking for an opportunity to volunteer. Whatever it is you want to do, tell people about it. Talk to people. Reach out in your network. And so LinkedIn is helpful because it can show you your professional. Who do you know? I always say narrow your job. If you know you want to switch jobs and you want to work for a certain organization, you can find out. Narrow your search. Never do a helter-skelter job search. So narrow your, I want to work there. So who do I know? If you go on LinkedIn, you can go to that organization's LinkedIn page, and you see it'll automatically show you how you're connected to somebody who works there. That's a good point. So do you know somebody who works there who can get you in the door? Facebook can help you out in the same way, often knowing if you know. So you reach out, who do I know at that company, or who might know somebody? And your alumni groups can be very helpful. There's lots of other ways. People you past former colleagues, that have no jobs or no people there. So it's all about tapping who you know for a job. And for example, there was a guy who I met who he had a big job at Time Warner. He got laid off, and he ended up deciding he wanted to teach English as a second language. That was what he wanted to do. He got a certificate and so forth. But he couldn't find work. He lives in New York. So he's sitting there one day, his son brought home his best friend or whatever, and he's sitting around the dinner table and he tells the kid that he's looking for a job teaching English as a second language. And the kid says, "Oh, you should talk to my mom." And he got a job, small world. He got a job through the mom. The mom didn't hire him, but she knew somebody to put him in touch with. It's those weird networking third, fourth connections. So, but it's telling, it's not being, sometimes we think we're too cool for school and we don't want to ask for help. But people love to help you. And just so you're not asking them for the job, it's okay. So they're happy to help you, recommend you to somebody else, or because that's nice. You're helping people.
I mean, not only is it healthy to, to build community and have community, but it's also, we help each other out. I mean, we look out for each other, family, friends, and community. And so sharing what you do, and you do need help and asking for help, it all makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't be afraid and think that it makes you look less than if you say you're looking for something or you're unhappy where you are. It's okay. It's humanity. That's what we are.
Yay. Great. I'm thinking if the challenges of looking for a job, and in our community here, there's quite a few people that are 50 and above. I'm part of that group. And so what are the challenges that you could maybe address?
Well,
in getting a job?
yeah. Well, they're out there. I mean, ageism is alive and well in the workplace. I mean, we've all experienced it. But there are ways you can get at it. Here are the main things. And the truth is, they're stereotypes. It's not, and they're true of some people, just not everybody. Employers are worried that you're not up for the job, that you don't really have the stamina, that you're taking it as a place card until you really are going to retire. Those sorts of things, that you're not in it for the long run. Again, my physical fitness program will help you here. So, so you really want to show you are up for the job. Number two, they worry that you're too expensive, right? Again, if you're financially fit, then you can work at this one a little bit. You want too much in salary, or you're too expensive to insure for health benefits, those sorts of things. I mean, all of these factors come in. They worry that you're not going to play nicely with the other kids. That means that you're not going to really fit in because you might not want to work for a younger boss. And you got to do some soul searching. Maybe you don't. Maybe that is going to make you uncomfortable, but probably not. I think most of us can get over that, but they worry about that. And I think that they think that you're not up to speed with technology. Having that LinkedIn profile will help. Having a social media footprint will help. They think that your skills are outdated, that you haven't stayed relevant. This is your job. Even when you're not leaving your job, you have got to it's lifelong learning, no matter what you're doing. There's no excuse for staying stagnant, staying in one place. You have got to move it forward everywhere. You can't be complacent. And you have to constantly be up to date on things in your industry, things in fields that interest you, so that you have that ability to say to someone, and a hiring manager, if you're looking for the job, can see, oh, you've just taken a class in this, or you've just done this. And those are important things. And if you have gaps in your resume, you've taken time out. So a lot of people I know actually have taken a retirement package, they've taken early retirement, they want to get back. You need to, or they have lost a job and it's really hard when you're older to get the job. You can get it, but it's going to take a little bit longer. You've got to fill those gaps on your resume. So that's where volunteering comes in. You can show that you're using skill-based volunteering. I think that's critical. But you're doing something. You're getting out of your head and into the world. It's really good for your soul and your energy level as well. Or travel, even traveling or taking courses, just to show that you're active, you're mentally, you're with us in the world. So those are ways that you can fight back against ageism.
Okay, those are good ways to.
And market yourself. I mean, we're great at this age. We do, like you were saying, it's hard to make decisions. Actually, I think when you're over 55 or over 50, we're real good at making decisions. We're better at it. Yeah. We're better at it. We make quicker decisions. We have the experience. We know what works, what doesn't work. We have a better work ethic. We have an ability to have bring ballast to the workplace. We're not jumping jobs. A younger worker will change jobs very quickly, even quicker than they ever did. We all did when we were coming along, but more so today. So I think there's real value to employers that want somebody in the workplace like this.
Yeah, and it's a good things that you can say to them or when you are at that job interview, to say these things, to point this out, to show all the benefits that you bring to the table. Is there anything that we 15 above shouldn't do, like that?
Don't complain about your achy knees or anything. no complaining, okay? Show up and show off. That's what I say.
Show up and show off. Okay.
And you just have to watch our language, because we often, and I'll do it myself, I'll say, when I was your age, or, I said something to somebody recently, I was doing this before you were born. And that's not really something you want to say if you're getting a job. But I was being prickly about something. So, but you have to be careful, catch yourself. Don't put that out there. And working for a younger boss can be really, really great, because it's energizing. And you get excited because you're learning new ways of doing things right there. And they bring this enthusiasm that you've kind of gotten jaded, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person's got a fresh set of eyes. And there's a reason why they're in that job. Somebody hired them to do that. So have some respect. And they need to respect you. You need to respect them. It's a two-way street. And a lot of us are dismissive of somebody who's younger, and you can't do that. I mean, I had an editor who I actually still have, who was younger than me. And when she first came on, I was so annoyed because she would not return my emails. She would not return my phone calls. And I was like, what is wrong with her? Like, who does she think she is? Why isn't she getting back to me? And then I went, oh yeah, and I texted her. Yeah, she got back to me right away. Yeah, it's just communication. Why didn't I have that discussion with her? And so I tell workers, if you're working with younger, start up front. How do you like to communicate? How do you like to work? What time do you come into work? And here's my get on. And really, at this age, you might not want to be managing people. I frankly don't. And so let them have that headache. You can sit back and do what you really like to do. So that's some advice there.
Yeah, I mean, you were recently on Dr. Phil talking about that very, very, very subject of working with someone that's maybe 30 years and bringing out the respect of what each person brings to the table.
And talk about it. Don't make it some dance that's behind the curtain. Talk about it. This is what's happening. Let's be clear. Let's communicate. Because you're on the team to make them look good. It's all about making the boss look good. It's not about you. So.
And it's a team effort.
It's a team, but you still have to be a boss.
That's true.
I mean, That's new. It'll come back to you. Oh.
Let's see some of the other questions that people have wanted to know. Oh, so you have talked a lot about generations working together and the benefit of that. And can you speak a little bit more about that?
I can. One thing, and we alluded just having a younger boss, but in the new book that'll be out, this one, I profile entrepreneurs. There's 3 different sections of the book, but one section is entrepreneurs, people who have started businesses, older entrepreneurs with younger ones. So I call them kind of legacy businesses because they have the chops to go on. They're not just businesses maybe that for 5 years, but these are businesses that could last for 20 years. And it's bringing a junior and a senior person together, and it's a great synergy. And I think this is a real movement in this country. As I'm seeing a lot of these coming together because the millennials are having trouble getting jobs too. Older workers are having trouble getting jobs. Sometimes they come together and they start a business. It's just perfect because you get the tech skills and the enthusiasm, the energy of someone who's a little bit younger, some of the experience, the capital, the network of someone who's older. It's a nice blend. It's a nice blend. There's one company who I profile in the new book here in Washington, and they make a product called Green Hat Gin. And they have a distillery over in Southeast. It's the first distillery, New Columbia Distillery, I guess. And he retired from Verizon, so lawyer there. And he and his son-in-law, who had been in the beverage business here in D.C., worked as a bartender, done lots of other things, they started up this distillery, making Green Hat Gin about 5-6 years ago. They are doing fabulous. I mean, it's distributed in the 3-state area now. They have this great. It's marvelous to watch them work together, and so it's the experience, and obviously the older entrepreneur brought some of the capital and was able, but he was able to help with all the legal stuff, getting it through DC, all the paperwork, all the liquor board stuff, all that, and then the younger guy loves to go out and do tastings at the local bars and restaurants and meet people, and he's the face, and it's also he can love the heavy stuff around, so. But they're a fun company. They have a website too. If you just Google Green Hat Gin, you'll learn about them. But they're cute. I mean, it's a nice example. But there's a mother and daughter in Youngstown, Ohio, that I profiled that started a cookie business. It's called One Hot Cookie. And the mom was a single mom, and she was working a full-time job. And the two of them, the daughter was looking for work to do. They love to make cookies, and they started little bits, and now they've got a couple of independent stores, like cookie places they sell online, and they're slowly growing. And they can start franchising. I'm like, wow, but they are hot cookies too, and they bring their dogs with them too. And I love that.
Oh, that even sounds better. You should bring your dog.
But I do like this, looking for the possibilities of working. When my Money Confidence book, when I was doing that book, I reached out to my niece, who had just graduated from college and was looking for something to do. I said, I need help, doing some updating of my stuff and this and that. And we really collaborated, and she ended up being an editor on the book on many levels, because she went through it with an eye that I was like, whoa, calm down, Caitlin, but she was right. She was right. So she brought a freshness to my project that I really appreciated.
Yeah, with the generation to generation, you see value in both generations. There's creativity with that, and one of our Life Planning Network value is collaboration. So imagine what we could create when we have generation to generation ideas. I mean, an older person with a younger person, it's just, the possibilities are really infinite.
And I should mention Encore.org there.
Yes.
Anyone who is interested in this whole thing, Encore.org are one of my very favorite organizations. They have a whole Gen to Gen campaign going on now, trying to bring the generations together to really, a lot of it is at-risk kids, but how, older, more experienced people can really collaborate and encourage these younger people, because as Mark Friedman, the head of that group, says, it's not the fountain of youth we're looking for, it's the fountain with youth.
The fountain with youth.
And Mark is actually speaking tomorrow night in the District of Politics and Prose, and a little pitch for him on his new book. And I adore Mark, and he wrote the foreword to this book for me. I quote him everything I write. I quote Mark because he's my guru. And but Gen to Gen is their big focus right now.
Yeah. he wrote How to Live Forever.
That's
It's
his
all
new
about
book.
legacy. He's a dynamic speaker, so if
Oh,
you can
he's
go
awesome.
there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
tomorrow night, Saturday night at 6:00, and they'll be doing the books, and he'll be talking, and you'll say like, and he's so nice. Oh my gosh,
He's very approachable.
He's just the
Very
nicest guy. And I'll be like, yeah,
His newest book is about intergenerational,
exactly.
the value of
Right.
intergenerational programming.
Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
brilliant, and it's really tapping on a theme that we need to focus on, and he's a great voice for it.
Before I left Fairfax County, one of the most requested seminars was 4 generations working in the workplace at once, the first time in the history of the United States. And so how do you manage a group of people, some that don't want to be bothered, just give us the job, some that want to collaborate, some that want to articulate and do other things. You put them in a box and say, this is your goal. It's not easy.
No.
And so I think the gym is going to get bigger than we can ever imagine.
Yeah,
How to
you're right.
survive.
With longevity, we're living longer lives.
Exactly.
We're staying in the workplace longer. We're staying relevant and
Exactly.
active longer in all kinds of different organizations. And so it is that opportunity to have these generations spread across it. It's really critical, and I think there's no stopping us. I mean, it's the power of this movement. Mark calls it a movement. I think it is.
It is a movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for the greater good of the community, and everybody brings their resources and pulls them, and just think of what you can create going forward.
You know, one other thing I wanted to mention, and you may have been getting to this, but I just didn't want to forget it because my mind skips around. The idea if you are looking to do something new, making a shift. Of all the people, and I spent 3.5 years traveling around the country meeting people who did one thing and then shifting to doing something completely different. There were common threads. They all did different stuff, but a lot of them is they didn't make any rash moves. And they really took their time to get their finances in order to add the necessary skills that they needed in order to do that work. They did their research about where were the opportunities out there, where might what they want to do, what's unique and that they value about themselves, where is the opportunity for them that somebody else might not be doing. So they took their time and they didn't start anything quickly, so it often took a transition of 3 years from the time they started to really, they can say, hey, I'm on my path, I'm doing it. They were doing it, but maybe they started it on the side while they were working a regular job. And I always tell people, go do it first. Go volunteer, moonlight, whatever, try it out, because something that seems like it's going to be super dreamy and wonderful, and I've always wanted to do that. That is my passion. But it's not when you're doing it every day. And a woman here in Virginia, she took a package she was a lawyer, took a retirement package. She'd been a lobbyist on the Hill, really dynamic woman, and she loved to garden. I mean, gardening was her thing. And so she decided, I'm going to start a landscape design business. And when she got out in the garden, she was miserable. She was so unhappy. And it was because the garden, she was so lonely. I mean, it was lonely work. It was so solitary. And for her, gardening was her respite. That was her happy place where she could get away from the craziness of Washington. And so she quickly got her act together and said, okay, this isn't working. Sorry, guys, I'll do this. But, I mean, it's an example of being careful and trying it out first.
Yeah. And I think sometimes maybe we want our results to be quick, but then it takes an evolution of thinking and trying things out. And in about 3 years,
It's patience.
Yeah,
So there are going to be setbacks. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen overnight. I mean, it's really, but it's so fun, and you learn from your mistakes. And you go like, oh, okay, I got that.
and you put in your hovering and do your
Put
resilience.
it in your hovering and keep your little journal and say, I screwed up today, but I did this right today.
Yes. That's a good way to approach it. Let's see some of the other questions here that we might have for you. One was, what is it that really motivates someone, maybe even to have a second or encore career?
Yeah, that's a good one because that's what I often, when I met all these folks when I did that big night, I continue to constantly be meeting new people and counseling folks and stuff, but a real motivator is usually it's somebody who has lost someone in their life that's close to them, that maybe they lost them too soon. They've had a grieving moment. and it may be even a health crisis of their own. But it's a moment where you say, and way back when I started this, some of it some of the people I met were from, it was the 9/11 sort of tragedy that shook them and said, whoa, is this what life is all about? Anything can happen. Why am I doing this? And if I don't like going to work every day, if it is drudgery, maybe there's something that, is this what it's all about? And so if you've got some of those life events are behind you, you can have that opportunity. But that's a really big motivator for people. And a health crisis is huge of their own. But losing someone they love is, I know one gentleman who and this was a big switch, but he was an investment banker in New York, and he lost friends in the 9/11 thing. And he and his wife had always fancied themselves gourmet cooks, and they had a little gourmet food group of friends. But he grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he wanted to take his kids and spend time with his kids, go to their games, and stop working investment banker hours in New York. He moved back to Pittsburgh, and he and his wife started this little Italian restaurant. And all the kids worked at the restaurant at different times and stuff. But he didn't just start it right away. He did as I call it, every job in a red sauce joint he could do. I mean, he bussed tables. He worked as a waiter, as a greeter. He got a job as a short order cook in the back. He tried out every little job, and he's like, I can do this. I can do this. And so he started this little business, and it grew, and it's like 10 years or more now, and it's been great. But it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you're an entrepreneur, you have so many different hats to wear. I mean, we were saying this person in the restaurant went through so many different types of things he had to do, and then put it all together and do it.
Yeah, and that leads me to say one thing about the power of women, because women are great at collaborating.
Yes.
So we know, and I do a section in the new book, it's all about female entrepreneurs, one of the sections, and women really are good at asking for help and reaching out, because entrepreneurism is a team sport. It's really not. You are your own boss, but you need a lot of other helpers, because you no longer have the infrastructure you had when you were at an employer's business.
Yes.
You need somebody who can maybe help you with the computer stuff, the social media stuff. Somebody who can help with the finances, the taxes, the bookkeeping. Someone who can handle the HR things. I mean, so you build a collaborative team, and they don't have to be full-scale employees, but they can be people who are on your team. And so women are very good, and we take things slow, and we do our research, and we don't expect to hit a home run right out of the ballpark the first time we open our doors. So we start incrementally in small steps.
Yeah. And also, you have a virtual. You can have someone that's virtual. It doesn't have to come to your office or their home, and that's an advantage nowadays with technology.
And the virtual assistant. I have a story, and if you belong to AARP, I have a story in this month's AARP bulletin on 5 great work from home jobs, and I call them pajama jobs. And virtual assistant is one of them. And it's fun, because you can be a virtual assistant for lots of different kinds of people. It's fun work, and you can do it from home. So I think that's a big opportunity for people, but just being able to do work not in an office. Today's world makes it so easy to start a business.
Yeah, you can travel anywhere. Do your work. Well, in terms of like doing your business, and if someone changed their job, do they have to go back to school, or what is involved with when you change your job? What's the preparation?
I do think a lot of times you need to go back and get a certificate in something. So I encourage people, look at what is the job you want to go to, and look on LinkedIn or whatever for people who are doing that kind of work, and see what their qualifications are. What sort of certifications, and look at job boards, which I'm not saying, as I said, job boards I don't think are going to get you the job necessarily, but job boards can tell you a lot about who's hiring and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So what the job description is, what kind of qualifications you might need to do it. So that's a good starting point. If you don't have the skills, get them. And it doesn't have to cost you a lot. You can go, community colleges are awesome. They have great programs.
Yep.
There's some really good online programs. LinkedIn Learning has wonderful programs. They bought lynda.com, which is a great thing, and they now have it incorporated in LinkedIn. A lot of free resources out there. So in Coursera, all of those, edX, there's some great virtual learning that you can add that skill that you need. And so I think that's really important. It's important to really do the soul searching. If you're going to start your own thing, you're going to change careers. How much do you want to do it? Do you want to do it full time? Do you want to do it seasonally? Do you want to do part time? Well, there's certain sections. Part time sounds pretty good. You know, so be honest with yourself about what is the work you want. One website I love, and this girl is fantastic, who started it, Sarah Sutton, it's flexjobs.com. And she also has remote.co, which is all work at home jobs. I do know people who have found jobs through that Flex Jobs thing, but it's great because there are a lot of part-time opportunities there, and you get a sense of what you need to know. So I'd say research, scan what's out there, get up to date with your skills, so that you can do it. And as I said before, do your job first, you know, and get your board of directors together, people who you trust who will counsel you, not be just yes people for you.
Yeah, you need a different perspective sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, one idea is to have, if you're thinking of launching something new, get a group of 6 or 7 of you together that you have dinner once a month or a lunch, and you hold each other accountable. You set goals each time to what you're going to do to move your business to the next stage, and then you report back. So you have colleagues who are supporting you.
How do you go about forming that group?
Yeah, try to think of people that aren't just like you. You want to ask around because you want diversity. You want people from different backgrounds, different kinds of businesses they're starting, so that you have that. You don't want everyone who looks just like you in the same kind of business, because each business is going to have different challenges, but we can all give a fresh set of advice to somebody, especially if it's a new field for us, right? It's something that we're looking at, say, oh, you're missing this in your planning. So I think that's a really nice. I mean, in job hunting, it's really great to get, just in general, if you're not even starting a business, is to have a job hunting partner who keeps you accountable for doing it, because your family is sick of hearing about it. They really are.
So networking is going back to networking, and just talking to people about being in the community and what you're looking for, and can I help you, and can you help me, and having that conversation about that.
Yeah, it's really critical.
Well, what would you suggest or recommend with someone that has their identity? You know, they're the go-to person. They've a person that knows their job really well, but they want to do something different, and then they're not quite there yet. You know, they're on the other end of the spectrum. They're like the beginner. And what do you recommend or suggest about? Because that's an uncomfortable spot to be in.
It certainly is. Oh my gosh. It is like, I call it the greenhorn blues. You know, you're just like a newcomer. People go into this incredible depression when they don't identify it necessarily as depression, but when they leave their former job to start something new, they're no longer top of the heap that people come to ask advice. They have to ask the advice now. And it's a real shift in identity. And it's a big task. And that's why I often say, you know, it's important to stay relevant and stay, even if you're doing whatever it is you're doing, get out of the house and get away from the computer, because get things that are going to make you feel good about yourself, because you will feel less than at times when you used to feel better than. You know? So it's a real shift, and that's when a career coach can help you, a life coach can help you, somebody who's unbiased, who you can talk to about this. These are real human emotions. This is not just you. A lot of people are going through this identity crisis.
It's very normal.
It's totally normal.
How to get through it is
And so I encourage finding somebody that you can talk to about it that's outside of your immediate circle, that can look at you objectively and say, you got this going for you, you got this going for you. You know, it's okay to be the one asking the questions, because it can be, you have to be prepared for that. Especially if you move into nonprofit work from for-profit work, they do things a different way. It's a different kind of work atmosphere. So your skills may not be valued the way they once were. Things move slowly. They don't have as many resources. You have to do a lot of the work yourself, get your hands dirty, get down there. So I think there's some of those issues as well. But having the greenhorn blues is really common. It's really common. And for example, my brother-in-law just retired the 1st of January. And he had this big muckety-muck job, and as a lawyer, but at a huge utility company. And he was visiting me Tonight Scout, and he's like, it's weird, like, I just got 2 emails And he's getting hundreds of emails, like hundreds of emails, and he said just looking at his phone depresses him because he was so used to having, everybody needed him, everyone had a question for him. He goes, this is really weird, and I was like, yeah, it feels funny, doesn't it? And he was trying to get work, as a professor, and I said, oh, like everybody's going to want him to come teach at their school. I'm like, no. Yeah, you think you're special, but so do all these other people who are retiring. They think they're special too. So it will come in time. You'll probably get, but it's networking, and it's not going to happen February 1st. It's going to maybe, but it's funny how you get these ideas because people will put you on this pedestal and you're back.
And it's a process. I mean, it's not, like you said, not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
And it's an adjustment. And
Yeah.
I think just to know that it's normal, that you feel that I'm not going to be the go-to person, and I may not know information, and so
Yeah.
just.
But this whole point too this whole discussion is talking about, and I go back to work and I use the word loosely in a lot of ways, but work is not like a 4-letter word or anything. Work is something that we all do. I mean, work is something that when people, you talk to folks, and it's study after study shows that it keeps you healthy. It keeps you mentally engaged. It keeps your brain sharp. It's use it or lose it. It's we're better for getting out into the world, whether it's working for pay or not for pay, but it's getting out and doing these things are, really critical to the human life with our longevity. We have to plan for this. So, I encourage people, give yourself permission to dream a little, but get out in the meantime and do stuff. Engage in your community. And you might meet somebody volunteering that's going to go, hey, I know somebody who can help you over here. It's like, you never know. Where you're building your network, you're keeping your resume alive, but you never know who might give you an idea.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of benefits. I mean, financially, you'll get an eventual job, maybe if you want, or part-time, or create the time-work ratio, or free time work ratio that you want.
Yep, I think it's really important to, as Mark Friedman has told me, is that, there's just, it's a time when 60 used to not be, it seemed like the end of the road, but now it's like you've got 15 years at least that you can do something different. The possibilities are endless. It's so exciting. I mean, and you talk about retraining, do you want to go back to school and learn something new? Well, why not? It might work. It might be the right ingredient for you. If financially, some people don't want to spend the money to do it, maybe do it for less. But again, it's that lifelong learning that gives us the possibilities and opens up for what we want to do.
I'm a nurse now, and I have been for like 30 years, and now I'm a life coach in addition to
You're
nursing.
doing great work.
Thank you. But I remember that uncomfortable period where I changed and I wanted to go into something, and I had all my nursing books, and people would ask me nursing questions or medical questions, and I just felt comfortable in that. And then someone might ask me something else, and I have to think about that. And as I got more confident, I began to bring more of my coaching and those types of books, and have less of my nursing. But it was a process, and
People still want to ask you, what do you do? And so it's that moment of identity, right? And so I used to get a business card made up. It sounds old-fashioned, but say that you do something. At least have a business card. Make it up. Create a title for yourself. Whatever it is.
it's a way to contact each other, and then building the community.
It's that whole thing, but I do, and I know it's just a life planning network and it's a lot of life. This is important. Find somebody, a coach who can help you. This is a great time in life to ask someone to give you that, to look at, do that MRI, to help you do your MRI.
Your assessment of all those areas.
Because, it is really interesting what you can do. A gentleman I know who worked for IBM, and IBM has a great program, Transition to Teaching. So they help a lot of their employees make the shift as they get older into, and they pay for some of the education to add that. And he was having a really hard time actually with the adjustment, and having a life coach helped him get out of that depression and actually helped him position himself that he felt confident.
Yeah, help them with those goals and help them get clarity about where they want to go, where they are now, where they want to go, and then the gap. And
Because it can be really daunting.
it's helpful
it's helpful to ask for help. I ask for help when I need it, but that's something that we might want to get over because we can get the help that we need, whatever it be, whether it be health and wellness.
You feel vulnerable. when you
It's
ask for
true.
help, and so that's an uncomfortable feeling as well. So you have to get clean with that.
Yeah.
Be willing to be vulnerable.
And it's a good point to bring out, to ask for help if you need it. So, well, let me see. You have there's a lot of entrepreneurs out here. There's senior entrepreneurs, and tell us about this book that you have. What's in there? And
Well, we don't like to use the word senior, sorry.
okay.
I may have said it, but I think I went back through it and shifted it to change the language. Because senior feels old. It's not old. This is like, it's experience. It's, whatever. But you're right. It's like, so this book is, I love it. I mean, I went through it. Now it's in the editing process still, but I get more inspired every time I look at it. So I hope everybody is too when they read it. But I pretty much, people over 50 are globally, it's not just in the US, are the fastest demographic of new entrepreneurs. And there's lots of reasons for it. The job market's hard, that, it is a time where we feel like we want to be our own boss, all of those things. And we can start without bricks and mortar. We can start on a shoestring. It doesn't cost $100,000 to start a business. You can start with under $5,000, And so there's some great, SCORE is wonderful. There's a great, they're based out here in Virginia, but they, across the nation, have these great opportunities where you can have a retired executive actually through the Small Business Administration help you do your business plan. All that free advice. I mean, it's amazing. So there's so many great resources, but I'm seeing this around the globe, and particularly as we talk about female entrepreneurs. But in this book, I just talk about this rising tide of people starting their own business. In each chapter, I focus on an entrepreneur and their story, and then I do a Q&A with them about the biggest challenges, the biggest rewards, what books they read, and then I do pull out boxes. Okay, this is what you need to do to, be aware of doing this. If you want to get registered as a woman's business, there's certain why that's a great thing to do if you can get that, because you get a lot of contracts can come your way. You get certified as a woman or a minority business. These are really, it's a lot of paperwork and a headache, but well worth it when you do that. So the book is divided into 4 sections. I talk about people who start businesses from passions and from hobbies. I talk about people who do the legacy businesses, the senior, junior entrepreneurship, and people who start entrepreneurial adventures that have a social purpose, that are often small nonprofits and so forth. And the final group is women and over 50 who are just going like crazy. So I kind of canvass a bunch of different kinds of entrepreneurs. And it's not just over 50. Because I wanted to broaden my market, it's like in the 40s and up, the entrepreneur stories. But it's fun, with this one woman I talk about, she was a nurse, and you might know this, it's a really hard profession. And she is so burned out, and she said it was just, and her hobby, interestingly enough, was woodworking. And her grandfather was a woodworker, and she remembers the smell of all that. And as she got older, she would tinker around. But and like me, I met her because she loves horses. And she started a little business, a woodworking business, doing horse-related things. Like she'll carve planters for flowers, but they're little horse heads. Or she'll do bridle racks or saddle racks or trunks, but everything has a horsey theme to it. And she goes around to horse events and she sells her stuff through a little tent. And she's like, Kerry, I sit here under my tent and I watch beautiful horses walk by me all day long. And then, and the people started coming to her and it became word of mouth. And now she doesn't even have to go on the road that much unless she wants to, because people custom order through her website. And she loves it. And it's just the size for her. But it combines 2 really wonderful passions. And she's making money.
Yeah, and it's clever and creative and fun. Well, it sounds like a good book. I mean, and we're all going to have a drawing for that fairly soon. It's not out yet, though. It's
No, it'll be this
April.
spring, late in the spring. But the great jobs, I love, see, what's next? Oh my gosh, I love them all. Love your job.
And we do too.
Love your job. The introduction's all about what I learned from my dog. Yes.
Zena.
Yeah, about how to love your job because she's got it down. She also knows how to be a boss, so she really is a good boss. So that, and then what's next are really great, really people who do real complete switches. But Great Jobs is it's kind of a Bible for people over 50 who are looking for work. And it's really a smorgasbord of all kinds of different jobs that you may never have thought of. It might not be for you, but you go like, oh, I didn't even know there was such a job. And then the nuts and bolts of getting a job, doing your resume, your social media. So that's Kerry's workshop is the second part of that. So some of the little bits I've talked about, they're in there.
And then love your job. And then there's another one out there you have 13 books. One
Oh my
another
God,
one was Money Confidence.
Money confidence is just huge, but it's aimed a lot at women getting financial. Women would rather talk about debt than money. It's crazy. And the thing is, at some stage in our life, every woman is managing her money solo. I'm married now, but my husband got really sick last year, and I thought, wow, do I really know where everything is? Do I know all these passwords? Do I know where all our financial documents are? And it was a scary moment. And I thought, geez, I don't know if anyone actually knows. So I try to give people advice on what to do if your marriage is in jeopardy, or your spouse is ill, or a partner is ill, and looking at those issues. But hey, it's good for 20-something women. I made huge mistakes in my 20s because nobody was telling me what to do. And I was living above my means and not saving. I cashed out a retirement plan. And I was done. I got money.
I wasn't agreeing that
That money, I saw it shaking my head.
relate.
But that money is worth something today. But I felt I needed it. I was changing jobs, and
We evolve and we learn as we go along.
yeah. But I feel really passionate. Working, as I talked about, going back to my resume, my days, writing that Navajo reading book is, that joy in your job and how that jolted me and shifted me. But women in money is a huge passion for me because I just see it again and again in my own life, my friends, my family, the fear of money, the deer in the headlights thing. Even really, really smart women, and we all are smart about money, but we don't want to. We kick it down the road. It's like the Scarlett O'Hara syndrome. I'll think about it tomorrow.
And so that leads us into how to empower ourselves financially. What are some of the key things? I know you were saying like passwords, and what other things that we might.
Well, I think especially at the beginning of the year, oh my gosh, it's getting ready for tax time. So soon. Where are the important documents? You pulling all the stuff out for this. Really, write a checklist for your partner or for yourself. For people, if something were to happen to you, that they know where to go. They can find out. But not only does it help you for that kind of thing, but it helps you in yourself to evaluate where are my accounts, what do I have, and try to, if you're in a partnership, try to have that meeting twice a year where you really talk about money, and it is taboo, but have that discussion. I get a stomachache when I set up that meeting with my husband, but it's never as bad as I think. It usually works out okay. But we manage our money the way that works for me is and for him. We have our money, my money, his money, retirement mostly. And, so we have different pots that things go into. So I don't ask permission for stuff. But we have to be on board. You can't do anything blindly that the others figure it out. Because marriage is a partnership. It's a business partnership.
So just going to be aware of our finances, get all our papers out, just to really do the hover thing and assess financially.
Knowledge is power. And we will ask for help. There's some great financial planners out there that don't charge a lot. There's great resources online for free. My book helps, but there's so many good books out there. Jonathan Clements is one of my favorite writers, and he has a couple of great books out. Keep it simple about investing. It's not rocket science. How to really enjoy life. And people who are stuff about retirement savings stuff, I'm like, you're saving for your life. You're not saving for retirement necessarily. It's for your life. Yeah. And 20-something girls and boys, everybody needs to pay attention early because we have these longer lives and personal finances. We need to be able to pay for them. You don't want to outlive your money.
Right. It goes with your fitness plan.
Yes.
Yes. So we got to know our finances. And you talked about retirement. So on National Public Radio at some point, you said something about retiring, the word retire. And,
Well, everyone in the Life Planning Network knows that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Retirement is withdrawing from life. This is a period of life to be engaging in life. So, I really think the word, even the definition of the word,
this new bonus years, this new longevity.
And talk about jobs to ride the age wave.
Yeah, well, that's what my favorite. Jobs was. In this book, I have a whole chapter about jobs to ride the age wave because and some of these are great work at home jobs. I mean, it's really
The
hanging out.
pajama jobs.
Yeah, it's hanging out your own shingle. And these are jobs, and again, Mark is the one that got me thinking about this, Mark Friedman. It's jobs that you do, that people in their 50s and 60s can do for people in their 70s and 80s. So as the population ages, there's all these jobs that we never knew existed before. And we were talking about, aging in place and so forth. Well, this whole idea of, being a home modification pro, someone who can go in and help someone retrofit their house and figure out, and you don't have to be a contractor to do that. You can, interior decorating, lots of different ways to get at it. There's a certification from the National Builders Association, I think, has one, and there's some other ones. But home modification pro is one. Being able to be a senior fitness coach, but it's somebody who you love fitness. You've always said I interviewed lots of folks who shifted even as their second career, became fitness instructors just for people in this demographic, or a senior massage therapist. My mom is 89. I have a massage woman come to her once a week, and she specializes in senior massage. It makes moms weep. It's that human touch because you lose that as you get older, and she just craves it, and so senior, that's another one of my jobs. So there's a lot of those kind of positions that you might not think about, but they're jobs to ride the age wave. So taking advantage, a lot of them are in healthcare, but there are ways to slice and dice it and get around it that are jobs that kind of really will ride off that aging population, and there are new ones being created all the time.
Yeah, I'm seeing with the massage therapists you have, your circulation is really increased. It's a health benefit, and also, like you said, it feels good, but it really helps their circulation as time goes on. And yeah, those are creative ways to ride that age wave with those jobs in healthcare. And imagine what our group could think of.
Really, it's brainstorming.
So I'm kind of looking at the time there, and I know that we wanted to open up the conversation because it is for our audience, and is this a good time?
Perfect. What's the best way to get your word out there? You don't have to keep writing books. I just do that because I'm an addict. But I think the key is why you? Why are you writing this book? Why do people want to read your book? What makes your message different than somebody else's book out there? Why? What makes you an expert in this area? Why? What do you have to share? So these are hard questions, and you have to really be honest with what the message in that book is that the author wants to bring to the party. And doing that exercise and looking at all the competition that's out there in that arena, and see how are you different? How is your message going to resonate with people? And it's hard because a lot of stuff has been done, and you're trying to get a fresh approach to it. It's easy to self-publish these days, super easy. But I like the idea of having a real publishing house, even if it's not a big advance or anything, kind of to get the cachet for that. And you have to write a book proposal to do that. You may have started writing your book, your friend may have already started it, but doing a proposal, you don't need to show somebody a full book. They don't want that, actually. They want a proposal. And the proposal is really simple. Even if you give me your card, I can send you my cheat sheet that I give people to write a proposal, because I used to help people write their proposals all the time, and I have to write them myself. Even now, every book I got to write the proposal for, because my agent wants it, we open it up. So it's really critical to know how, your competition, how you can market the book, which is one of your questions, like how do you get it out there to get attention? And publishing houses, they don't want to really do anything. So your marketing platform is key. And that's where it comes into having followers on Twitter, having a LinkedIn presence, having Pinterest, Instagram. Actually, a lot of books are moving on Pinterest and Instagram. I mean, one of my book editors, I just met with her last week, she said Instagram has been really great for getting authors noticed. So you have to open up where your audience is going to be to sell it. But
it's important to know your niche, who your audience is, so who your competition is out there, who your actual audience is who you want to reach. And so for the proposal, it's not hard, but to do it, you do one sample chapter, you have your outline, the overview, But essentially, the nut is, it's really hard to sell books. So the best thing that you can do is get out, like I'm doing, talking to all of you. Encourage yourself to get away and get out and talk to the people who the message is going to resonate with. And social media, I found that, and this is maybe just me, but I have not found spending money on a publicist extremely helpful. I found it to be a waste of money, but for me, I know a lot of people, because I was a journalist, I know a lot of people who can can write, interview me, but again, if it's, you need to know who the journalists or who the people are writing in your genre, what it is that you can get noticed and get to them. And again, it's networking. Who do you know that you can get to them? I found it helpful marketing books on Facebook, doing Facebook ads, doing Twitter ads. And then you can really you know who your audience is. They help you slice or dice that audience so that Facebook sponsored ad goes out to a certain demographic. Those are all helpful things. But again, it's helpful. If someone is just putting a proposal together, I have a woman, she was my editor for a long time at Tom Wyman & Sons, and now she's a consultant in New York. And she really knows the book industry. A lot of it is financial books and personal finance and social careers. But she knows agents, she knows the publishing houses. And I often send people to Debbie, and she says, "Oh, here are 3 agents you might want to talk to. She can help them hone their proposal so that it's ready to send to an agent, and so forth." So that's another good step if you can get introduced to someone like that.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
Who else has a question, a burning question out there?
I do. Whenever I speak to groups, just talk about encore careers and encore adulthood in general, the question always comes to me, what about people who maybe didn't do that well, like you said, had either saved, didn't have the opportunity to do a bridge, to take time off? What about all those other people? Because generally the groups we're talking to are people who've had the opportunity to even think about being able to do this because their first career or their circumstances are in a position to let them do so. I know AARP does a lot of work with people who are in need of jobs to stay, alive, basically. Do you hear much about the kinds of options for folks who may need more help?
Yeah, no, that's a terrific question, and that's exactly what I see, and I have for the last quite a long time, especially when I speak for AARP and their events. I see these audiences of people really, when you see the palpable fear in their eyes that they're going to outlive their money. I mean, when you look at it, we're very lucky in this, many of us are in this room or in this part of the country, that most people have like less than $4,000 saved for retirement. I mean, it is, and with the aging population, the social safety net in this country is not going to be able to support that. We do not have a mechanism in place for the fact that people are living longer lives with medical bills that we have no idea what that's going to be. And I know even my mom's in assisted care, she's got an apartment, and it's ridiculously expensive. And, so these are really daunting. I mean, I have a real fear of the elder poverty crisis that this country is going to face. And I think the whole jobs question played a huge role in the last election. I mean, I could have said when I was in Tulsa, when I was in Des Moines, there are people who are just hungry for jobs. They just want work, and they're over 50 and they need jobs. And the skilled labor, I mean, there's some really tough things out there, and it's harder to get jobs. The best resources are really, it's so difficult to come up with an easy answer for this. It's really hard.
So I'm asking you.
I tell people to try to reach out to the community colleges to see what help they might be able to find there. To see if what you can learn online to kind of ramp up your skill set. It's so important to have your skill set sharp. It's very tricky, and again, it's going to be a network. You're trying to find, it's getting people who know you, who can vouch for you, that will help you get in the door, and then it's going to be up to you. The jobs are out there. The market is tight, but what employers say is, oh, well, we can't find the workers with the right skills. Well, then what are the skills? Let's find out. So we need to come to the table and have this discussion. So I'm hopeful that, books like mine give you ideas, and I have lots of websites and resources there to go to, but it's just a relentless process of staying out there. And I think alumni, now this isn't some of the people you're talking about here, but alumni associations can be very helpful in helping alums help each other, helping you redo your resume, practice interviewing again. We haven't interviewed in years. My younger brother had been out of a job, and that poor guy, everybody wanted to interview him on the computer. He was not adept with that, and I had to give him a whole coaching class on how to interview by Skype. Look at the camera up here, don't look down here. How to dress. It's daunting. There's so many people. It's so cold, the interview process these days. It's so cold. You're interviewed by a computer. You're interviewed, but if you don't get it, it's so hard to get in the door for an interview. So it's a process, and I wish I had a better answer.
No, there is really no answer.
But it's an important question that we all need to think about. And remember, when people ask us for help, we say, "Hey, I heard of this," and people often forget to market stuff. It's maybe something you did years ago that can be a kernel for a new job. It's not replicating the old job.
Redeploying.
I wanted to point out in our community here, we have the Community Business Partnership, which is over there on near the Springfield Town Center. And you can go there, they can assess your skills, they can help you with jobs, any age that you are. So there are resources in this community that you can seek if you're interested in that. Sometimes it's just a matter of really
Access.
looking at access.
Do you have resources on your website along those lines? Because I can help you put some up.
Oh, okay.
Because that would be kind of neat for people to have at least you could do
The
your
community.
local one.
Yeah.
What are some of these networking opportunities
Yeah.
that you can, I always tell people try to join the industry associations, try to go to meetings, go to networking events, and, but that takes time. Because networking is building relationships, and you don't get the job from a network.
And government resources are usually not geared to this population in this way.
No, and
They may be other
they're
services.
younger workers, like when I testified before the Senate about the older worker issue, all of the Department of Labor stuff is really, the one-stop career centers are wonderful, but they aren't geared to younger workers. They really are, and they need to do more. It's low-lying fruit, they should, but not really.
Put the years on there, or maybe
I like to say extensive, or I try to stay away from a number,
Okay.
the 20 or 30 or whatever it is. There's other, the 20 or 30 or whatever it is. There's other language you can use that indicates your length of experience without giving a specific number. And the way I do think that resume, and if you email me, you probably I can send you. I did a story. Maybe AARP's website is terrible, but they have. I did a piece for them about how to redo your resume online, a virtual. How you can just really update some of these things to make it more relevant. In fact, resumes can be more like your LinkedIn profile, so it's more of an engaging summary at first about the kind of work you love to do and how. And it's always tailored to whoever that employer is going to be, but how what you do resonates with their mission and what your skills can make them solve their problem. It's all about solving their problem, not yours. So if I shifted from the linear, like I did this job to this job, to these are my skills, just flip it and then you bring up. And then if it's a job, and it's only jobs that are relevant necessarily to that position that you're looking for, and then you can say other experience down here, sort of chop it up a little bit. But I really did like that article, and it's worth, if you need help finding it or your friend does, I'll be happy to send you the link to it.
with AARP.
Yeah, it's on their website, and if you search my name and resume, it should come up, but I'm telling you, I have a hard time navigating the website, so that's just.
And the other thing is when you're torn between two professions, she liked what she did, but she's also has branched out into something totally different. And when you're putting those two on your resume, I got what you were saying, that kind of fills in the hole as far as, okay, what she's been doing for the last year, which is totally unrelated to what she was doing for 20 years. it's beneficial to have that on your resume, but I'm just trying to, as she's constructing this resume, we were thinking, okay, maybe she should just have one that she was in HR for 20 years, and another one that's, I'm a mortgage loan officer now. I mean, or do you make a hybrid?
I wouldn't. I would keep it tailored to who you're applying for the job.
Okay.
So that's going to appeal to that one, then you highlight that. Every resume you send out should be different. It should be customized to whoever that is, which is why sending a scattershot of resumes is a lot of work. So it's better to just focus in on a couple employers and custom make that resume for them. And again, it's really understanding who that company is, their value, their mission, and if you can say anywhere in that why what they do is really important to you and why in your life something you did, it connects with who they are, they love that stuff. And it's often happens to be true.
My very short question is if you were looking for like a career coach, some sort of one-on-one career, just someone could hear her story and kind of give her direction, what organization, where would she go for something like that? What does that look like?
Like
Well,
Planning Network.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I could talk to you later, but the International Coach Federation, there's a conglomeration of a lot of different coaches and that are certified and have expertise and experience to help you with that.
And most people will give you a free, time to get to know you and see if it's going to work, right?
Yes.
And you do it over the phone. You have to actually, you can meet in person, but you don't have to.
Oh, you could meet in person. We could do Zoom. Zoom technology, which is like Skyping. And then
Sometimes you just do like 3 or 4. It doesn't have to be a huge commitment. It can grow into one.
exactly.
But baby steps there too. But it's really important. I'm a big fan of having somebody who really can look at. They don't know you. They come to it cold, and they can look at you and get to know you in a way that a new employer will.
And to pick out your strengths. Sometimes you do something so well, even naturally, that you're not aware of it. And someone that is talking to you can pick it out and say, "Wait, Kathy, you're able to do this, and this." And you're like, "Oh yeah, but I do that all the time." But that's a skill that maybe a employer really wants. So it's a fun assessment. So I'll be glad to talk with you later and give you more resources too.
Also, when she gets into the things she did this year and those 20 years, there are common skills that she used in both of those. So, when you're talking to a hiring manager, she can say, yeah, but I use this as I was doing this. It seems like it's totally different, but it actually wasn't 100% different because I had to use my, project management skills or my communication skills or whatever. And employers more than ever are interested in soft skills. It's really important, the soft skills about, being a good communicator and leadership and, all kinds of different things that aren't being flexible, not hard skills. So there are other ways that you can showcase that, and that is not related to that 1 year or 20 years. It's part of who she is.
Thank you for your questions. Anyone else have a question?
I have a quick question.
Katarina,
Yes.
my neighbor.
It's more a soft question, but when I was in my 20s and 30s, there were always women 10, 15 years older than me. They were not officially a mentor, but they really got me razor sharp insights about where I was and where I was going. I do a lot of volunteer work now, so I'm not in a work situation, but I miss that. These women that are 10, 15 years older than me. Where can I find them?
I don't know, I feel like you need to reach out to somebody younger now. You have a younger mentor. Because often I have younger mentors now that are keeping me sharp. They're like, especially with technology and social media stuff, I reach out to lots of folks that I know from my industry. And I'm like, hey, I'm grappling with this, and they keep me honest. They're like, you're not really doing that. And so again, as we get older, it's harder to find those, because often those women have stepped out of the environment altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, but they're still there. And I guess, how would you do that?
I think that looking at the theme of what you might be interested in, is there a particular area like health or wellness, or is there something with arts or entertainment or whatever your theme is, and look at that area is a thought. And you had an idea, which Tina.
Me?
Yes.
Tyra.
Yeah, I don't think we need to assume that all the knowledge resides with women that are older. Personally, I love an intergenerational group of women, men, whatever, around me, because that's the real world. And some of the most refreshing and challenging ideas have been what if, and just put it out there, and it's been a younger person that has the mind-boggling switch. So I guess I would say open your mind to where that information may come from now. It may be a totally different place, but it may also be as valuable.
I think that's so true.
And even meet up, you could start a meet up group in our area and say, we would love to, have women chatting about wisdom and
Meetup is a great way to do it. Actually, our mutual friend Dory does that with something, and it's been tremendous for some of her clients doing that. And kind of getting like energized and thinking about the ways and things to do.
just in conversation and just maybe opening your home, but there's a lot of ideas that could precipitate from that. But good questions. Any other questions? I think we have exhausted the questions, and you've given us a lot of wisdom, and I tried to write them all down. We've recorded this, so I'm going to personally, once it's available, try to get all that wisdom down, and we're going to make this available on the Life Planning Network. You go to our site, and I know the library wants a video of it, and so that's one thing. And then we're going to give you a nice thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't learn from that. It's evolving.
Too much time.
Behind you is a thank you for sharing your wisdom and in here.
I'll be my banner white woman.
This is your banner, right? This is a Life Planning Network, a 1 year subscription to our organization, and you'll be getting a welcome to Life Planning Network online.
Thank you.
So you're welcome, and this is for you. Just some fun things. You don't need to open it if you want to. And then we had Valerie, who was very helpful. Was she around? She might have been.
Can I wrap real quick with one thing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And all of you for coming. And just 3 things you can put on your cheat sheet. Networking is 1 letter away from not working. Work is not a 4-letter word. Instead, it's a dream killer.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my most words. So true.
I mean, there's a lot of wisdom. I mean, the Hubber a lot of wisdom. Come on up here, Valerie. Valerie is assistant manager here for Richard Byrd Library. This gal has go ahead and she made a flyer. She put it up on the online. She has it on Facebook. She's been here early to help us set up, and so we really want to thank you for all you've done.
2 books for the library.
Oh,
Okay, so
thank you.
enjoy.
Oh,
Appreciate
that.
You have a little.
Oh, absolutely.
That's nice.
We have a little setting bag for you. Great. Thank you so much. Oh, well, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you all for coming, and thanks for these. We'll get these out in our collection as soon as possible. Thank you.
And then we need to do our drawing. We didn't do that yet, so
Yes,
you shake it up. Shake it up. Oh, shake it up.
Not too much.
Yeah, I could put too much energy in there, and it could go all over, and that would be something. So you want to go ahead, Elizabeth, and
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Marcy Stennis.
Oh,
Yes, you have to be wearing turquoise.
Oh my gosh, So, the book isn't out yet. Molly has already been ordered, so you talk to Molly and you give her all your information outside when we're done, and she'll get you your book. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Okay. And let's see, I know we have one for Molly. Does we want to ask Molly to come in? She's our book. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Oh, well, thank you for
You're welcome. She's from Scroll Books. Scroll Books is in Reston. Do you
In
want to
Reston,
talk a little bit about?
Sure, it's in Reston Town Center. We're an independent local bookstore, so that gives us a really nice connection to our community. And we were so pleased that Eileen and Kerry invited us this afternoon because it means a lot to support the local economy
Yeah,
and local
yeah.
stores. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
So,
And thank you. We have a little something for you.
oh, you're so kind. Thank you. That's so
We
nice
really
of you.
appreciate you coming and carrying
Oh, of
those
course.
books.
Oh, no problem. It was our pleasure. We really enjoy doing things like this. So thank
It's a pleasure
you.
to work with.
Oh well, thank you. You too, Eileen. You've been wonderful. So thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Okay,
All right,
so
great. Well,
we're
thank you.
so right now we're going to have book signing. If people want books, Carrie, you wanted to maybe just sit in the back, or do you
Well,
want
I
to?
did want to make a couple more announcements.
Oh, yeah.
I had to watch the books
Oh,
when
yeah.
she came in.
Yes.
Anyway,
Or maybe she could be up here.
what?
Book signing.
Oh, the book signing, yes. So that'll be happening, but I did want to let you all know that on April 11th, we often hold our meetings on the plane right on 123. Okay, right inside the Beltway.
The government
The
center.
government center, yeah, thank you. And the next one's on April 11th, and it's going to be a panel discussion on Encore Careers possibilities for your next chapter. And we'll have some folks there who are in Encore Careers and talk about how they got to them, made the bridge to them. A couple of them that we know at this point, we're still looking for some other interesting ideas, as a person who trains service dogs for her
Our
Encore
neighbor.
career. And then somebody who happens to be part of our life planning network who actually started a nonprofit that's doing really well in Northern Virginia. So there's, I hope we can see some of you at that.
Yeah.
And it's usually 10:30 to 12:30, about that period of time. But you'll get the message. So, where do you want to do the signing?
Anywhere you want.